What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? Today we have the very popular Canik Prime. We're going to do a full review on the Canik Prime today. Before we get into the features, I want to talk about two things related to this gun. One, several people made comments saying it's not drop safe. So what I did was I put a blank in there. I dropped it on the muzzle, on the side, on the back, upside down, all that good stuff. And I do believe it's drop safe. It did not go off. I didn't have any problems. The second comment I got even more of is people asking if it was a snappy gun. I got dozens and dozens of comments. And my answer to that is depends what you're comparing it to. If you're going to compare it to a large full-size competition gun like the Canik Terran Tactical Competition, whatever the model number is, then yes, it is more snappy than that. If you're going to compare it to other micro compact guns, no. I don't think it's a snappy gun, especially with the ported barrel that we're going to talk about that does eat up a bit of the recoil. For a gun this size, I think it shoots extremely nice, on par with other similar guns this type of setup. All right, let's get into the magazine. So it comes with two magazines, either 10 rounds or 17 rounds in each of the magazine, depending if you live in a free-ish state. Magazine's of metal, base pad's of metal, has a nice little texture on the side. Pretty much the same texture that's on the grip of the gun in case you need to rip the magazine out. And these magazines are made by Metgar. I know that because on the bottom of the magazine there's a Metgar logo right there. Metgar makes very good magazines for lots of companies in the gun industry, so no complaints there. The magwell is a perfect EDC magwell, which makes sense because this is an EDC gun. On the sides, it does not stick out much at all. On the front, it sticks out a little bit, which kind of locks my hands in place. I have average large size hands and it really locks my hand in the grip in quite well. The inside of the magwell does have a nice bevel, so when you're at the magazine, when you're at the range doing those Neomag magazine exchanges, that nice smooth bevel on the inside is definitely not going to slow you down. The grip, I like everything about the grip. I like a lot of things on this gun, but the grip shape, first off, is very good. It feels fantastic in my hand. The texture is great. Not only does the texture look good, it feels fantastic. The texture is the same on all four sides of the gun. I like how they bring the texture up above the magazine release. I really don't like it when companies don't bring the texture material above the magazine. I don't like that area when it's slick. On both sides of the gun, you also have memory notches as well, and it has that same really great texture as the grip. I want to show a couple things inside the box here. It comes with this extremely nice waterproof case. The case is crazy. Besides the one backstrap on the gun, it has two additional backstraps in the case as well. It also comes with this little baby Canik. If you've never seen these before, it's great. It's a little tool, and it comes with all the different bits and some extra screws and all the things you need to do basic work on the Canik. It comes with a speed loader that I'll never use. It comes with a punch, some cleaning brush, and it does come with a G-code holster. We're going to talk a little bit more about that G-code holster later when we get to testing, but just know it does come with all of that stuff. Magazine release is fine as well. It is easy for me to reach. I don't need to readjust my grip. It does drop the magazine freely. It has some texturing on the magazine release. No issues there. Trigger guard is good size for a micro compact. Obviously on a bigger full-size gun you can make the trigger guard bigger, but on the smaller micro compact-ish gun, good size trigger guard. I did shot it with gloves, no problem. Double trigger guard undercut as well. Help you get just a little tiny bit higher on that gun, which never hurts. The trigger, as you would expect with Canik, if you don't know, Canik gives you good, affordable guns with really good triggers. The trigger is great. So it's a flat face trigger. A couple things I really like is the safety little dongle that's on there is much wider. Like if you're used to a Glock dongle, that little thin thing, this takes up the majority of the trigger. And something about the way that feels, that really wide safety dongle just feels good. Plus it's textured, so I like the way the trigger looks. I like the way the trigger feels. There's a little bit of take up till you get to a wall. You push through the wall a little bit, but the reset, is sensational, especially for a polymer, really small micro compact gun. So we are going to take a break. so you can get up close and personal with the trigger. Before we do that, I want to quickly thank the sponsor of this video, and it's Grab Bags. Grab Bags makes these small EDC bags. I usually wear them as a sling bag. You can also wear it as a fanny pouch. And the nice thing about it is they're very quick access bags. A magnet holds the bag shut, so you just give the handle a tug and you can quickly access your bag. Plenty of holsters out there that have Velcro on the back. What you're seeing inside this bag is the Neo Mag hook and loop adapter. Pretty much any 1.5 inch holster will click into this Neo Mag adapter, and that's a great way to off-body carry, especially if you want to use your holster. Your gun can stay in your holster, and the holster slides into that Neo Mag adapter, and how wonderful is that? Anyway, thank you to Grab Bags for sponsoring the video. I've done reviews on both of these grab bags already. I've also done videos comparing these to other popular sling bags, and there is a discount code on top of that. The code is Tiberious. That will save you a few dollars if you get anything from Grab Bags. Okay, I'm done shilling. Let's go take that break so you can get up close and personal with the trigger. What did you think of that reset? Holy cow, great reset. I approve. Anyway, the rail, standard 1913 rail, so you should have a decent selection of lights. What I put on here was the TLR7 HLX sub, the 1913 version. You don't need to go with the sub on this gun, but I had one and it made sense and it worked, and I love the TLR7 series of lights, so that's cool. Slide release is solid. It's ambi, so you lefties and righties, or if you're shooting off hand or whatever. It's extended, so it's very easy to reach. At the same time, with it being extended, I never rode it or hit it, so it's that perfect mix of being extended but not being in the way. And if you're like me and you want to use it as a slide release, it is very easy to use it as a slide release, which I approve. The slide's pretty straightforward. It's a stainless steel slide. It has some sort of nitrite type finish on it, so your rust and corrosion and durability should be very good. The serrations on this gun are excellent. Some of the best serrations on any Canik gun. I've never seen any other serrations on a Canik gun better than this one. So they're just a little deeper. They angled forward slightly. There's front and rear serrations. However you choose to run the gun, it should be good to go. You'll notice the slide has some slide cuts on it as well. There's 2 cuts on the side of the barrel. I think those are really just aesthetics. I don't think they do anything. There's another long slide cut on the top, and you can look through and see it says Prime on the barrel. That's just a nice little aesthetic touch. The other 3 slide cuts on the barrel, on the slide, are going to be for the ports. They line up with the ports on the barrel, and it looks sharp, it looks good, and the ports definitely help eat up that felt recoil. We'll talk more about that in just a second. Sliding on up to the sights. The sights are also good. They're made by Night Vision. In my opinion, Night Vision probably makes the best sights on the market. They're steel sights, not plastic, which makes me happy. They're tritium, so they're night sights, 2 dots in the rear, 1 in the front. The front also has an orange circle around it, and you dovetail, you can push them out. The rear sight, it does have a ledge for one-handed manipulations, which doesn't really matter because at this point, you should really be running optics on your gun. The optics cut on this gun is pretty straightforward, standard, good stuff. It takes either the RMSC footprint or the Holosun-K series footprint, whatever you want to call it. It takes any of those optics. It will screw right down to the slide. There's no accessory plates or anything to weaken the system. And I had a Holosun 507K on here. Now I have a Gideon Judge 2 on here, and I only probably have 100 or 200 rounds with the Gideon. Most of the shooting I did was with the Holosun. But the Gideon, for a budget-friendly optic, that dot is crystal clear from my eyes. Like one of the most sharpest red dots I've seen, even compared to a much more expensive red dot. So I was kind of surprised because Gideon makes a good affordable dot, but that dot is crispy. Anyway, we're gonna take the gun apart. For you folks who don't know how, YouTube moderator person, this is just for basic cleaning and maintenance, and it is allowed per the YouTube rules. Please don't demonetize my video. Most important, make sure the gun is unloaded. Never send around through the wall and you hit your neighbor. Timmy, that would be sad. Once you are sure the gun is unloaded, we're gonna pull back on the slide, pull down on both takedown levers, pull the trigger. Now, the only thing that's different from Canik to some other guns like Glock, the slide doesn't come all the way off the front. The slide goes forward like a 1/2 inch, and then it lifts right up instead of off. So that's one thing that's different. Another thing that stood out to me is this recoil spring. It's a dual recoil spring. It's captured normal, but it feels a lot heavier than a lot of recoil springs, especially for other micro compact guns. And I don't know if this is a small addition on why it shoots a little bit nicer than other micro compact guns, that and the ports obviously, but the recoil spring has a little bit of weight to it. The barrel in here. Okay, so the barrel on the hood has some lines, just aesthetics, to kind of mimics the serrations, and I think aesthetically it looks pretty good. As I said earlier, it does have Prime on the top of the barrel, and then it does have some flats on the side and the bottom of the barrel as well, and it kind of gives it a salient arms. If you guys remember salient, it kind of gives me a salient arms vibe, but it's a good looking barrel. Obviously the ports are the star of the barrel. If you don't know how ports work, as you shoot and the bullets and all the hot gases go down the barrel, some of those gases will be siphoned up through the ports, and it's going to do two things. It's going to help the gun shoot a little flatter, so you can get your dot back on target and continue to shoot. And it's also going to eat up some of that felt recoil. Some of those gases go up and you don't quite feel as much felt recoil, and that's what comps and ports do. And I hope you paid attention, because there is a quiz at the end of this. All right, up here on the screen, let's take a look at the dimensions, the weight, the price, and all that important stuff. If you haven't seen one of these guns size-wise, I think the closest popular gun is going to be the X Macro. This is kind of Canik's version of the X Macro, and I'm hoping to get both this and the X Macro to the range at the same time, so I can really shoot them back to back and compare them and do a dedicated comparison video, because they are very similar. $650 is the MSRP. Again, Canik brings the value. Once the hype kind of dies down a little bit on these, because they're very hard to find at the time I'm making this video, I have a feeling you're going to be able to find these eventually for sub 600 bucks, I think. I don't know that to be true. And what a crazy deal. And then if you want it with the Canik optic, I know nothing about the Canik optics. I've heard good things, never experienced one. But if you want it with the Canik optic already installed, that's going to be an MSRP of $850. Again, you could probably find it for less than that. All right, let's move on to the testing quickly. I'll try to be quick here so we can talk about the pros and the cons, and you can subscribe, and then you can get out of here. I brought it to the range about 10 times. And I have over 500 rounds through the gun. Through all that shooting, I have zero malfunctions. No failure to feeds, failure to fire, no failures of any kind. The gun has been flawless through all of that shooting. I did a lot of drawing from the holster. I figured this is an EDC gun. I might as well draw from the holster as much as I possibly can. I don't have a holster made for it yet. The holster I was using is made for an X Macro. I think it's good enough for the range. I would not on-body carry in that holster. I don't think it's good enough to on-body carry. Of course, we did transitions, shot a bunch of steel, magazine exchanges, because Neomag is life. You should do Neomag magazine exchanges every single day, because Uncle Tiberious told you to. I did carry the gun as well in the grab bag with the G-code, took the light off, G-code holster in the grab bag. I carried that way for a few days. I also used the G-code holster on my body and carried on appendix for a few days as well. And if you can't tell, I really like everything about the gun. There's nothing I would change, but that particular G-code holster doesn't work for me. Holsters are very specific. Different people will like different ones, different body types, and that one doesn't vibe with me. It's a nice holster. There's very good retention. It's adjustable. You can use one holster for inside the waistband and outside the waistband. It's lefty, righty, reversible, so there's a lot of good things. I just didn't find it comfortable, and it was very difficult for me to conceal because it sits so high. Again, that's just my opinion, your body type, and you may vibe with that holster, and it may be good for you, so take that with a grain of salt. All right, pros. Biggest pro for me with Canik is the value. They give you a very good, durable, reliable gun for a great price. And you know, this one here, if you look on the side, it does say made in West Palm Beach, Florida. So that's awesome as well. I love how they're always making improvements. I think Canik, more than most companies, listen to the customers, and they're always tweaking and changing and making improvements on all the guns. I love all of these kind of micro compact-ish guns that have full-size gun capacity. Like this has the same capacity as a Glock 17, and it's much smaller and, more importantly, much thinner than a Glock 17. And for me, that makes it a lot easier to carry. The trigger is great, the sights are good, the optic cut is good, the serrations, the grip texture, the grip shape, all that stuff's good. The ports, there's nothing I would change, by the way. Love it all, minus the holster. The ports though, let's talk a little bit about ports and comps. I think a really big comp is a good big comp like the Radian comp is probably going to be more effective than ports. The risk you take with a very effective comp, you're going to be more likely to have malfunctions, especially with lighter ammo. So it's a trade-off, and that's why I think a lot of companies, this is just my guess, don't do really big comps on their guns. They do ports, or they do that weird X macro short barrel thing that SIG did, because they don't want to take a chance of reliability, especially with a carry gun. It has to go bang every time I pull the trigger. I don't want any malfunction. So I'm assuming that's why they do the ports instead of the really big comps. That's just a guess. Overall, this is what I'm going to say for the gun. This is how much I like it. It's going to enter my EDC rotation. I currently carry my tricked out 365 XL and my Shadow Systems CR920P. This will be the third gun that I add, to my EDC rotation. And no, Canik did not pay me or give me any money or anything to say it. I truly just like this gun that much. And I don't think I could give a firearm or an accessory a bigger compliment than potentially trusting my life and my loved ones and whoever else I'm around's life to that firearm. Like, that's how much confidence in how much I like the gun that I will absolutely keep it. I will absolutely carry it. You will see it a whole bunch going forward. And thank you very much for Canik, by the way. I used to partner with Canik all the time, but I haven't partnered with them in a long time for some reason, so I greatly appreciate their support. I also appreciate Grab Bag sponsoring this video. Thank you to them. If you want to get anything from Grab Bags, again, that discount code is Tiberious. More important than any of that, thank you, boys and girls, for watching. I truly appreciate it. If you think I deserve it, subscribe to the channel. You can go ahead and like and comment as well. I appreciate those. But what me and Santa really need is for you to subscribe to the channel. 100,000 subscribers by the end of the year, and it's going to be difficult. So I need your help. Thank you for watching. Be good and stay blessed. Peace.